we've all talked about it over many years, in ones and twos. I was working with Tony for a long while, so it was a subject of great discussion over 10 years. And then a few years ago, Gary went over and saw Steve Norman. I obviously was with Tony, and then about 2 years ago, I got together with Gary for the first time in probably 15 years. And we had a glass of wine, and
Not beer.
no, it was a glass of fine red wine, and we tried to make a way that we could make this work. I think there was a desire from 5 people, and it took a little bit of negotiations, but I think we're very glad that we made the effort.
I think at that meeting, before the end of that meeting, which obviously was sensitive as well, we were already discussing the set list. Getting excited.
Yeah, we were daring to dream about it. It seemed an impossible task, but it was going to be a difficult task. But actually, as it's turned out, once we'd broken the ice, it all came together pretty quickly.
It worked out really well, because I think the way we went about it was right. We met in 2s and 3s rather than all at once in a lawyer's room, with a lawyer standing there, which would have made a lot of pressure on the whole meeting. But we met in 2s and 3s as friends, which was the right way to do it.
Yeah, we rediscovered our friendship, sorted the business out, and I think the first time it really became solid, the first time it became tangible was when we actually got into a rehearsal studio and started playing music together. And from that point, it was very easy. After 20 bars of playing music together, suddenly there was a magic in the room, and we all immediately understood what we'd been missing, and how important Spandau Ballet was, and how much we could move it on and write some new chapters in the Spandau Ballet story.
There was that day in the rehearsal studio, there was a kind of a spirit that we evoked in the music, and that became like another character in the room, another person, and I think all of us felt a sense of responsibility to that spirit, and to our legacy as well, and that we had to make this work, because we'd all played music with different people in different places over the last 20 years, but we'd never been in a room and made that sound for those years, and it was just.
I think the first song that we put together, we put our guitars on, and the first song we started playing was I'll Fight For You, which was just magical.
That was when it became very easy. So there was delicate negotiations before to sort the business out, but as soon as we started playing, it just felt right.
Yeah, 20 years didn't exist.
Yeah.
Some years ago, I had an interview with Christian Canals, and he said about this reunion, no nostalgia at all. So I'd like to know what for you, what's your idea for nostalgia, and what's your plan for the future?
It's all about the future. It's about Spandau Ballet in 2009. Nostalgia is looking back. We're trying to look forward. In every way, the band is better than we were 20 years ago. We're all better players. We're all better people. So we've all grown in many ways. So, and I think that was important about making the new album. It actually got the band back into a studio and put us on a better footing. The first plan was to go and do some concerts. It's pretty much 1 year ago, pretty much now, where Spandau Ballet, the 5 of us, were in a room together for the first time. So in that year, we've covered a lot of ground. We were going to go and do some shows, and then we got offered a fantastic deal by Universal. And I think we were all, I couldn't see how we were going to fit making a record into this year, but Universal wanted us to reappraise some of the old songs, and that was perfect for us. And out of that, also we have 2 new tunes. So
I think most of our songs are timeless. They don't only exist in context of an era. They work now just as well, and so there isn't a sense of nostalgia when we play it. I think the songs are more powerful than that. They're like Peter Pan, a great song. it doesn't grow old, you know. So there's that to the music. Also, just to say that with the new album, that is a separate project. That is Spandau Ballet in a very intimate setting, apart from the new songs. That's a very intimate look at these songs. Live on stage when we come here to do the shows. It's electronic, it's big, it's more like the originals but louder and pumped up.
Big rock show.
So timeless songs. Timeless songs.
Well, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, you know, songs. I think over the 20 years, those songs have entered into the public consciousness. They're part of the culture, and no matter what age you are. I mean, my daughter's at university now in Manchester, and you know that gold gets played at the end of 18, 19-year-old clubs. So it really has crossed a lot of generations. And so there's the people who saw us before, back in the day, and now we have a whole new audience as well.
We did a TV show in Germany last week, Beton Das, with Black Eyed Peas, and Fergie and will.i.am were talking to us because they did a cover of True 2 years ago, and they said they did it for a movie soundtrack, but he was upset that he couldn't put it on their album because they just missed the slot. So Fergie used it on her. There's another track on her single.
It's a nice cover.
And yeah, it's a nice cover. You know, and to those guys, and Nelly 2-3 years ago used it. You know, it's not a dated song still. It's out there, as John says, in the public consciousness. So in a way, we're all just talking about your idea of, is this a nostalgia trip? No, it's not. You know. We're the only band who can play those songs, really.
Well, I think the plan for the band is just to move forward into the future. You know, I think when you're in a band when you're a kid and you first start the band, it's kind of all-consuming. You know, that's all you know. Used to be in a band. That's your life. But I think over the last 20 years we have so much more life experience to bring into the band for the first time. And I think that's the exciting thing about starting again.
We never thought we'd be doing this tour with a new record, with a song, you know, a brand new song that we're playing on TV now, and that really has been a great thrill for us because it's broken the ice as far as Spandau Ballet making music in the future. We know we can do it now. You know, the most nerve-wracking thing is to sit in a studio and show someone a song, you know, and begin a new song. And we knew we had the responsibility of Spandau Ballet's history, that this new song had to be worthy of all those other ones, you know. And when we started building that in the rehearsal studio and in the recording studio, you know, I think we were all a bit nervous, but it didn't take long before we felt, you know, this could be another Spandau classic.
Yeah. It was good, you know, in the time pressures of making the record. We really had to fit it into 6 weeks in the summer, which, you know, it's a short amount of time to make an album. But I think that pressure was good because I think we all had to be very instinctive about it, and we didn't have too much time to question ourselves. You know, and so it came pretty naturally. I mean, we recorded in a residential studio outside London, so we were living together, eating together, playing together, and drinking together. So yeah, it was very good to bring everyone.
It's true, because after 20 years, our musical differences were zero when we got back in.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's also, you know, being in a residential studio is a really good bonding experience for us as friends, because it brought us together. I mean, if you imagine recording in any studio, sometimes by the time you travel backwards and forwards to a local studio, you don't even see each other. You know, you do the bass at a different time, the drums at a different time. You never get to sit down and talk. So being together where we ate together and lived together as friends was a fantastic bonding experience for all of us.